Sexual persecution still goes on today, even in such open countries as the Netherlands. I am proud to stand here today as an out and proud GLBTQ student to honor those who have lost their lives for being what they are, and truly hope that I live in a world that would not allow another Holocaust.
Let's give our presenters another round of applause. At this time, we're going to move into our panel discussion of the program, and it will be very brief. I want to say to the audience that after the panel discussion and after closing remarks, we invite you to come to a light reception in the lobby area. The panel discussion today will be led by Ms. Rhodesia Gamble. She will serve as our moderator. In the essence of time, what we're going to do is we're going to allow two pre-questions to be given to the panel, and then after which we will open the floor for questions from the audience. Audience members, you can either speak your question or you can write it on your index card. At this time, I'll allow Ms. Gamble to come and do the panel discussion.
Hello, everyone. At this time, I would like to begin with the first question for the panelists. Panelists, what were some of the reasons for Hitler's persecutions of Slavs and Gypsies?
Other reasons.
It's at your discretion.
I am going to answer this question because one of the reasons why Hitler, the persecution of Slavs, Soviet Union was the communist country, and it was pointed before that one of the important parts of Hitler's program was the killing of communists, and also it was one of the reasons of the persecution of Slavs. One important reason for the persecution of Gypsies, I touched a little bit in my presentation this idea that Gypsies had a different lifestyle from the Aryan population, from the Aryans, and this different lifestyle was not acceptable from the standpoint of the requirements which the superior Aryan race were supposed to be in future. On the other hand, when we talk about the persecution of Gypsies, a significant part of the population of Gypsies didn't work, and they basically sometimes were viewed as beggars. They were almost the same as prostitutes, and all these reasons made Hitler and Hitler's authorities to have certain attitude towards the population of Gypsies.
Panelists, my second question is, why did Hitler receive such a light sentence after his conviction for the attempted overthrow of the government of Bavaria?
Well, I guess I need to take that one. The crime of treason ordinarily is considered one of the most serious crimes anyone can commit. And the punishment for treason normally would be either life imprisonment or execution. Now, why Hitler received only 5 years and ended up serving less than 1 is a function of the fact that most of the authorities, most of the elites in the state government of Bavaria were not supporters of the existing system. In fact, they shared many sympathetic ideas with some of the Nazis who wanted the representative democracy to be overthrown. And this included the judges in Bavarian courts. The judge who presided over the trial of Hitler was one of the judges of the Bavarian state who was opposed to the existing system and wanted a return to a more authoritarian form of government. He therefore sympathized with Hitler and the Nazis and gave Hitler that light sentence as a result. The very fact that the many authorities didn't support the government that they were representatives of tells you that the Nazi appeal would have been widespread because so many Germans didn't support the government that they were living under.
Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to open the floor for the audience if you have any questions for our panelists. Yes, ma'am.
Well, the government that Germany had was imposed on the German nation after World War I. When the German Empire was defeated in World War I, that imperial government was destroyed. And the victorious Allies essentially wrote the constitution for the new German government, which was called the Weimar Republic. Germany at that point had had no experience whatsoever with democratic institutions. It had always been an imperial system or a very authoritarian system, and the German people did not have the values that supported democratic government. For example, they believed that it was the responsibility of government to make decisions for the people, and they did not see the idea of the people having tremendous say over the decisions of government as an appropriate one. And they didn't believe in political equality either.
Okay, another question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of points I want to bring up. First of all, I want to thank all of you guys for your individual presentations. And because the Holocaust is such a complicated subject, there's no possible way in which 6 people, even from wildly different fields, can sort of conclusively comment on all aspects of it. But I think that in your presentation, or in your multiple presentations, there are, I think, 2 very important things that need to be addressed when we're talking about this, right? Number one is a lot of times we focus on the sheer numbers of victims of the Holocaust, and we try to put a human face on it by, Dr. Hughes did this with her picture of Emily, so that this is just one of the millions who was a victim of this. But oftentimes, what we think about is that the crimes that were committed by this gigantic impersonal state against people, and this is not the case. This was done by people, to people, and if you think about not just the death chambers, but like the reserve police battalions that would go all over the countryside and commit summary executions, make the Jews dig their own graves and shoot them right into their graves, that this could not have happened without the complicity of the German people. And you must think about sort of what it is about us that enables us to do this. And this leads to the second point. Oftentimes when we talk about the Holocaust, we say, this can never happen again, this should never happen again, but it has and it does. The Holocaust is only one of the major genocides, it is the major genocide of the 20th century, but 1 million Armenians lost their lives after the First World War. Almost 3 million Cambodians lost their lives under Pol Pot. In the 90s, we had genocides in Bosnia, Rwanda, and even recently, there have been genocides in Darfur, right? And so I think although we want to focus on the Holocaust because it's so big, we need to turn elsewhere. And we need to go further. We can talk about the United States genocide, de facto genocide of Native Americans, and even the Australians' breeding programs that attempted to breed out the Aborigines. So this is something I think we need to seriously consider when we reflect on what the Holocaust means.
Can I speak to Dr. Turner? You talk about a bottom-up approach of the people, that the people were involved, which is it's a very hot subject right now, of great debate. How much can be laid on the common German person? And I think if you look at the fact that while Roman Catholicism did its best to throughout the Middle Ages as well as even into 1937 to address that killing Jews for some kind of religious reason was immoral and wrong, the common person had the idea of deicide, of Jews as killing Jesus for 1800, 1900 years at the common level. And so whatever politically occurred above them, whatever laws were passed and whatever kind of machinations occurred outside of their control, they were, in terms of their personal beliefs and folklore and church expectations of how the world is constructed, already had them as being evil. And so it was in the fabric of thought, in the culture, accepted, common knowledge. Whether or not there's any evidence